Good evening and welcome to News Hour. Coming up in this edition of News Hour, President Bill commissions 40 megawatts power plants for Newton in Woodsea and Lunge in Port Loko district. Sierra Leone reports progress in reducing maternal and child deaths during the first 100 days of the 000 campaign. And residents decry poor condition of Taylor Street, Shell Road. All these and more lined up in this edition of News Hour. Stay with us for the next hour. My name is Daphne Zainab Kamar. The government of Sierra Leone has taken another major step to strengthen the country's energy sector. President Julius Maada Bio has commissioned 2 new power facilities. The 30 megawatts Regional Emergency Solar Power Intervention Project, known as Respite, in Newton, Western Area Rural District, and a 10 megawatt power plant in Lunge. The president says the projects will bring electricity to thousands of households for the first time and improve power supply across the country. Margaret Senge reports. The Ministry of Health has announced significant progress in reducing maternal and child deaths across Sierra Leone during the first 100 days of its ambitious 300 days of activism for 000 campaign. The update was delivered by the Minister of Health, Dr. Austin Demby, during a press conference held in Freetown to brief the media on the achievements, challenges and next steps of the nationwide campaign. Esther Suzanette Bassi has more.
Launched on March 1st, 2026, the 000 campaign aims to achieve 0 preventable maternal deaths, 0 preventable child deaths, and reach every 0-dose child with life-saving vaccines. Presenting the progress report, Dr. Francis Moses, Director of Reproductive and Child Health, outlined key results of the first 100 days, which include weekly national and district performance reviews, activation of district task forces, strengthening the maternal death reviews, intensified community reach, and real-time monitoring of key indicators. He also noted key achievements and priorities for the remaining days of the campaign. Delivering the keynote address, Health Minister Dr. Austin Demby said maternal deaths have reduced by 31% during the first 100 days of the campaign, dropping from 123 deaths in 2025 to 85 deaths in 2026. He also reported an 11% reduction in child deaths, while 4,961 0-dose children were reached with vaccines, representing 55% of the national targets.
So for us, the important thing is these are remarkable achievements, remarkable accomplishments. But what we want to do is, this is the journey to 0, yeah? This is the journey to zero. We have 300 days we're working on, so we've seen the first 100 days. Now, what are we going to do differently over the next 100 days? First, for those 85 people that died, there is an active audit that goes into what happened. What happened that led to their deaths? Did we have the medicines? Did we have the staff? Did they die of bleeding? Did they die of malaria? Did they die? We interrogated very, very thoroughly. Was there delays in arriving at the hospital? I think we've collated all of that information. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fix those problems.
5 districts were recognized and awarded for their outstanding performance. Among them were Falaba, Koinadugu, Tonkolili, Bonth, and Kenema, with Falaba emerging as the best performing district. Looking ahead, the ministry says efforts will now focus on strengthening vaccination outreach, referral systems, and support for high-burden districts during the remaining 200 days of the campaign, and this he calls for inclusivity in order to meet with the remaining. And this he calls for inclusivity in order to meet with the national targets. For SLBC News, Esther Suzanette Bassi reporting.
A delayed ambulance, a shortage of essential medicines, or limited access to healthcare can have devastating consequences for mothers and children in Sierra Leone. To address these challenges, the Sierra Leone Medical and Dental Association convened its 55th anniversary media congress at the Dawalia Hotel in Kenema, under the theme, The Role of Health Professionals in Achieving Zero Preventable Maternal and Child Deaths in Sierra Leone. Esther Sako has more.
For families in the eastern region and other parts of the country, the crisis is personal. Poor road network, fuel shortage of ambulances, and gaps in emergency care mean women often arrive at hospitals too late. Health facilities still struggle with stock out of essential drugs and weak data systems, Dr. Francis Moses told doctors and health professionals at the Media Congress of the Sierra Leone Medical and Dental Association that every preventable death leaves behind grief and lost potential. He said the path to zero death required commitment, accountability, collaboration, and continued learning from every health worker. The theme, the role of health professionals in achieving zero preventable maternal and child death in Sierra Leone, aligns with the ministry's 300 Days of Activism campaign to eliminate preventable maternal and child death and ensure all children receive life-saving vaccines. Health Minister Dr. Austin Demby said the campaign is a national movement to end preventable maternal death, child death, and stillbirth. He cited data showing Sierra Leone's maternal mortality ratio has declined despite Ebola, COVID-19, and economic shocks, but warned that data, accountability, and quality improvement must drive the next phase. President of the Sierra Leone Medical and Dental Association, Dr. Ahmed Al-Hassan Sharif, said holding the Congress in Kenema ensured voices outside Freetown were heard, stating the theme aligns with the National 300 Days of Activism. He also said the gathering will review progress, set professional development priorities for doctors, and advance policy on death surveillance and antimicrobial resistance, turning Kenema's commitment into measurable action.
It's about action, how we want to act. So we are starting with our services. Clinical excellence is number one, and also engage in the communities to continue also to sustain that trust, because when the community trusts you, they feel, they feel like they can go to you, they feel like they can work with you, they feel like you give them the best.
The Congress also gave the floor to young aspiring doctors and medical students. For them, the Congress was a call to responsibility.
For me, I see it as an inspiring moment, being amongst our lecturers, our senior colleagues. It's very inspiring for me.
Coming here today, I've been able to have the breakdown of what they have achieved in the past 90 days or more. So I am so happy about the achievement, and I am.
Stakeholders in Kenema pledged to uphold professionalism, embrace data-driven care, and mentor the next generation so Kenema's challenges become part of the past, not the future. Health professionals say success will depend on resources, but also on collective action, professional excellence, and community trust. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
Residents and road users have expressed frustration over the deteriorating condition of the old road linking Taylor Street to Shell in the eastern part of Freetown. The road, which serves as an important route for vehicles, kekes, motorbikes and pedestrians, have become difficult to use. Aminata Bangura reports.
The road is damaged with deep potholes. Its muddy state makes it difficult for vehicles, tricycles and motorcycles to navigate. Residents attribute the problem to poor drainage systems, with drains blocked by dirt and garbage, causing water to overflow the road and deteriorate the more. Kasim Sise, a minibus driver, claims the old road between Taylor Street and Shell is one of the worst roads in the east part of Freetown. He says many drivers avoid that route because it causes damage to their vehicle.
If this road is not fixed, vehicles will stop passing here. And if they stop, people will suffer. There are a lot of people here. We are begging the government to remember that there is an old road.
So people can get suffer. So just the big government at least let them see our old road.
For residents in the area, the road has been in that condition for many years. Authorities, they say, usually dig the road and promise to work in time, but that is yet to be done. Youth usually volunteer to fill the potholes themselves.
There was a time we wanted to cover the potholes in the road, but authorities stopped us, saying they would do it. Since then, no effort has been made.
Mohamed Lamin Toure, the public relations officer for Sierra Leone Roads Authority, says that the authority is currently implementing a project titled Patching of City Roads under its Urban Road Department. The project, he says, will ensure damaged roads within the city are repaired to ensure easy and safe movement of road users.
The work is ongoing. For now, it has been suspended because there are some equipment that need to be kept before it could be further to the other areas that you are mentioning. But shortly, the project will resume.
Residents are calling on the government and relevant authorities to fix the road, including the drainage system, to make transportation easier for people living and working in the area. SLBC, Aminata Bangura reporting.
Residents and business owners along West Dundas Street, Robert Street, Charles Street, Main Street, and the Samba Gutter axis have expressed concern over persistent blocked drains, poor waste management, and recurring flooding in their communities. Our reporter Christiana Kamar has more.
Residents of communities around the Samba Gutter axis said recurring drainage and sanitation problems continue to affect their lives and businesses, particularly during the rainy season. They said blocked gutters filled with plastic waste, sand, and other debris frequently cause floodwaters to overflow into homes, shops, and streets, damaging property and disrupting daily activities.
You see this new road where they make, it causes a lot of problem because they take the
water from Texas, Iron Team, and Model all flows into the Samba Gutter. However, The gutter is too small to contain the volume of water during heavy rainfall, resulting in frequent flooding.
They can't buy more than loud, and the samba gutter is small. Not small samba gutter. Now that's not the big one, or the small one. So when the water, they all give them branch of water, and a heavy downfall of water they come out of the area then they. And then water they come out of the area then they all they can pass now this small samba gutter to PWD. So when they come to PWD, it cause a flooding.
Residents say community cleanup efforts have done little to solve the problem as poor waste disposal continues to block drainage channels.
3 years or 4 years back, we suffer from this dirty.
For the past 3 to 4 years, we have struggled with this sanitation problem. We contribute money to clean the area. Despite our efforts, the waste keeps accumulating. We are still waiting to see action from the authorities.
How they clean and so the water they come, how they clean and so the dirty they come. We need the able. Mayor be don't can at the streets, he be say the help we and this dirty, but at least he make effort but we not see her again. The big people are waiting at the community and go meet them, he's saying they come. So we look up to them, but say today we not see it, but the dirty they cause problem.
A shop owner on Main Street said the situation continues to affect businesses and public health.
They affect we health-wise, they affect we business.
Whenever it rains, water enters our shops. Unless we keep them closed, we are appealing to the government to deepen the samba gutter so water can flow freely.
Deep, so the water will come and go run free. But without that, it go difficult because of the people along up the hill. They throw away dirty that now and don't all man the chap for billows up the hill.
Residents also believe an obstruction beneath parts of the concrete drainage structure may be preventing debris from passing through, worsening the flooding.
It's not easy for we because we tired.
We are tired of this situation. It appears something is trapped beneath the concrete structure, causing water to flow whenever it rains. We are appealing to the government for help.
Not pass. So if they find out say where the rain they can heavily they come up from the hillside where they can down, the dirty where they can time the dirty they can stick now so the water they book for pass. And water not you never block water. Any carry so if you block water they overflow.
Residents and shop owners called on the Freetown City Council and other relevant authorities to improve drainage maintenance, expand existing gutters, and enforce proper waste management practices to reduce flooding in the area. SLBC News in Freetown, Christian Akamari reporting.
All 16 tribal heads in Freetown and the Western area have met with the National Civil Registration Authority NCRA to discuss ways of increasing registration services, especially when the national identification is increasingly becoming a requirement for accessing services. The meeting ended with a strong message. Local leaders must ensure their communities register or risk losing their positions. Esther Sako reports.
For many Sierra Leoneans, the national ID card is no longer just an identification document. It is becoming a key requirement for everyday life. That was the focus of a meeting between the National Civil Registration Authority and the 16 tribal heads representing various ethnic groups across the Western area. Despite recognizing the importance of the exercise, several tribal heads raised concerns affecting registration in their communities. They cited delays in processing cards, difficulties in receiving completed cards, and complaints about photo quality. Some also noted that many residents still lack adequate information about the registration process and its benefits. Chairman of the Council of Tribal Heads Western Area and Kono Tribal Head Chief S. Becky stressed the importance of the national ID card, describing it as something people should carry as naturally as they carry their mobile phones.
We are going now into our different communities, talk to our people, because if you want to travel out of Freetown or even within Freetown, there's need that you should be taking your national ID card with you. It's just like your mobile. should be part of you.
Thank you very much. Responding to those concerns, Director General of the National Civil Registration Authority, Mohamed Massakoy, assured the chiefs that efforts are underway to bring registration services closer to the people through mobile outreach teams. He called on traditional leaders to mobilize not only members of their tribes, but entire communities to participate.
We have all understood ourselves and the tribal heads. We have understood the imperative need for us all to be identified. We have also understood the risk it will cause if we don't identify ourselves, if our people are not identified. And so therefore, to mitigate or prevent those challenges or risk associated with you not being identified.
It dismissed concerns about the quality and credibility of Sierra Leone's national ID cards, noting that it meets international standards recognized by ECOWAS, the African Union, and the United Nations. The meeting concluded with a commitment from the tribal heads to intensify community sensitization efforts in local communities and ensure wider participation in the registration process. One of the key resolutions adopted was that sub-chiefs would be held accountable for registration levels within their communities, with failure to support the exercise potentially affecting their positions. The engagement is expected to improve access to national ID cards across the Western area, strengthen identity management, and make it easier for citizens to access essential services and opportunities that increasingly require proof of identification. SLBC News, Esther Sako reporting.
The National Youth Commission has concluded an engagement with the Youth Parliament Committee on its strategic development plan for 2025 to 2030. It was also a session to strengthen the partnership between both institutions for program implementation that would benefit young people in Sierra Leone. Suleiman Babature reports.
For an overview of the strategic plan,
the National Youth Commission's 2025 to 2030 Strategic Development Plan was centered on 5 key areas, including organizational and institutional development, youth employment and employability, youth civic engagement, governance, rule of law and technology, partnership, networking and resource mobilization, and the 5th, health, well-being and protection. These pillars were said to be anchored on developing the institution's policy and human resource, empowering the youth, building partnerships and creating a healthier environment where the young people could thrive successfully.
So under this pillar, we'll look at awareness on drugs and its related issues, mental health, awareness and psychosocial support, youth sexual and reproductive health education, and of course youth-friendly and social protection schemes.
The institution also presented some of their ongoing projects and those in the pipeline. Among them were the World Bank-sponsored entrepreneurship support and access to finance project aimed at empowering 8,000 youths in Sierra Leone, placement of trained youth into different industries and organizations, IOM Returnees Training Project, Youth in Agriculture Project, and Youth Skills Training at AFTEC and other institutions. Projects in the pipeline include the training of 20 trainers and at about 200 youth in cargo and ship management. This was said to be in line with Sierra Leone's medium-term national development plan, Sustainable Development Goal 4, 5, 8 and 16, government's Big 5 game changer, especially the creation of 500,000 jobs for young people, increasing youth leadership and political participation, and improving the well-being of young people in the country, especially when they form 60% of Sierra Leone's population.
It's not only training. We want to train and link it to opportunities. That is one thing. We have signed critical MOUs with MDAs, both government and private sector. The objective was, after we've done critical skills gap analysis. For everybody we are now training at the commission, we already have a job for you.
Impressed with the strategic development plan and the NACOM's activities, the members of the Youth Parliament promised to advocate for the institution's policies and funding, among others. They also called for a more advanced collaboration, especially in the implementation of youth programs.
We are here to give our support to the National Youth Commission, that we as a committee, our doors, our windows, our offices are widely open to ensure the National Youth Commission achieves its strategic plan.
It was agreed that both institutions would be working hand in glove to ensure proper implementation of the Commission's projects. SLBC News, Sulaiman Babature reporting.
Sierra Leone's Minister of Youth Affairs, Ibrahim Sano, has joined other African leaders in calling for a generational shift on how the continent governs itself and pursues prosperity at the Young Political Leadership School Africa conference hosted in Magribi County, Liberia. The conference, which convened delegates from over 10 African nations, served as a high-level forum for the next generation of policymakers to exchange ideas, forge regional networks, and transformative African leadership in decades ahead. Addressing delegates, Minister Sano said that genuine transformation demands more than electoral participation, noting it requires entrepreneurial courage, civic accountability, and the confidence to design and champion solutions that emerge from African realities. Liberia's Minister of Youth and Sports, Cornelia Wonkele-Kwa, also addressed conference participants, reinforcing a message of cross-border solidarity and urging young leaders to anchor their ambitions in the principles of peace and long-term sustainable development. A court in Kenema has ordered for the destruction of various illegal drugs and other substances that were tendered and retained as exhibits following the conclusion of criminal proceedings before the court. Some of the substances include tramadol, kush, and marijuana. Safa Moriba reports from Kenema City.
The court in Kenema has ordered for the destruction of various drugs and other substances that were tendered, retained as exhibits in concluded criminal proceedings before the court. Some of the substances include tramadol, kush, and marijuana. The destruction exercise were witnessed by local authorities, civil society organizations, the press, Office of National Security, and other security forces. They were drugs worth millions of leones. Several suspects were tried in the court, and the destruction was to send strong warning to those involved in the trade. Ibrahim Hindolokata is the Deputy Assistant Registrar for the Kenema Court.
Today was a date scheduled for the destruction of drugs, for which the matter we are concluded in the court. In this destruction, we have over 530 wraps of kush, quantity of tramadol tablets, and loose quantity of cannabis. The drugs came from, investigations that were conducted by the police, Sierra Leone police, and matters charged to court. Tramadol, loose quantity of cannabis, of kush, loose quantity of cannabis. My advice is, we as a nation, as a public, let's take responsibility in ensuring that we support the Sierra Leone police, we support the work of the police, the judiciary, because there are times you have issues when these matters are charged to court and people don't want to come up and testify because they are scared that I may not want A, B, and C person to see me as a bad person, to say that I'm the one who testified, and as a result, A or B was sentenced to prison. So I want to admonish the public that let's all put hands on deck in ensuring that we support the Sierra Leone police, we support the security apparatus in the fight against drug abuse.
According to authority, the SSI will continue to provide public confidence in the fight against drug abuse in the country. Reporting for SLBC, I'm Safabi Moriba in Kenema District.
You're watching News Hour coming to you live on SLBC Television in Freetown. We continue with more stories. Abu Kamara, a young man who was imprisoned for 12 years without trial, has told the SLBC that he is gradually recovering in a rehab center established by Hope Behind Bars, Sierra Leone. However, he is calling on well-meaning Sierra Leoneans to help him. Mohamed Korma reports.
The story of Abu Kamara, a man who was said to have been imprisoned for 12 years without trial, has caught the eyes of the public. His journey to rehabilitation and reintegration is still ongoing as Hope Behind Bars Sierra Leone, a non-governmental organization, has accommodated him in their rehab center. According to Abu, he now has a safer space where he eats, sleeps and takes care of himself well. Part of his daily routine is to establish prayers, but he told SLBC that for the past 12 years he had not been able to perform his usual prayers. Hope Behind Bars continues to serve as a shield for Abu. They bought him items for his upkeep and took him to the hospital for checkup. Abu told SLBC that he feels comfortable in the rehab center, but he pleaded that the public assist him with a mobile phone to communicate and a keke to fend for himself after being discharged.
Yeah, they feel fine. No problem. Yeah, better pass and better pass the jail.
Here I feel comfortable. I eat, wash and sleep well. They take proper care of me. I thank God. I call on kind-hearted people to help me with mobile phone and keke.
I want for them to help me. Yeah, for keke, then I get phone, but they communicate with me, family day.
Aminata Kamarake is the welfare assistant to the rehab center and a caretaker to Abu. She said Abu is a nice person that is fun to be with.
Abu Kamara is comfortable here to make food. I can't see now. I forget about the past, I think about the future now.
Abu is comfortable here. We joke, laugh, and talk about the future. He has also been assessed medically. We thank God he's okay.
Because he don't go doing medical, we thank God. No bad results will come out. So, thank God the body defined.
According to the center rehabilitation manager, Mohamed Roulins Kamara, the center was established to complement government's effort to decongest prisons.
The key primary focus is that detainees move away, we don't cut them out, bring them to rehabilitation centers, come to rehabilitate them, let them get a sense of freedom, refreshing of the mind, refreshing of the body, and refreshing of the environment, a fresh environment, different from where you had been, and just try to interact with them effectively, thoroughly. There is hope. It's not the end of the world. There is hope, and there are people who are concerned.
Members of Hope Behind Bars are calling on well-meaning Sierra Leoneans to contribute to their development initiatives. The organization has a huge space that can accommodate hundreds of people, but its members are soliciting support in order to improve and expand the facility. For SLBC, Mohamed Kouma reporting.
EDSA has now removed electric poles that fell on Monday, June 8th at the Congo Coast Bridge. Before then, residents had raised concerns over a power outage and other safety concerns. Earlier, our intern Zainab Madi visited the community before this latest development and sent us this report read by Esther Susanette Bassi.
Relevant authorities and officials from EDSA are expected to have determined the extent of the damage and take necessary measures to restore safety and normality services as quickly as possible. Residents in the community say before the incident, they have already raised concerns about the deplorable conditions of some of the poles around the bridge area at Congo Cross. The collapse of these poles have led to a major traffic disruption and causing delays and restricting movement for motorists. Motorists and pedestrians were forced to alternative routes as the situation raised serious safety concerns for road users and nearby properties. A concerned citizen told SLBC that the situation has been ongoing since yesterday, raising concern in the community.
We are calling on the relevant authorities to take urgent action, warning that although no incident or injury has been reported so far, the situation remains dangerous and could lead to serious consequences if not promptly addressed.
A community member said there has been blackout since the incident occurred, which she said has affected daily life and small businesses in the community center.
And for now, we not get lights. It's not easy.
This community used to get light every day, but since the poles fell down, the community is experiencing blackout. Majority of us sell cool water and juice for our survival.
She explained when there is electricity, more people come around to do business, but the persistent power cuts affect customer turnout and income. She called on EDSA to swiftly address the situation. Residents remain hopeful that regular access to electricity will help them sustain their livelihoods and support their families.
The government of Sierra Leone has taken another major step to strengthen the country's energy sector. President Julius Maada Bio has commissioned 2 new power facilities, the 30-megawatt Regional Emergency Solar Power Intervention Project, known as Respite in Newton, the Western Air Rural District, and a 10-megawatt power plant in Lungeng. The president says the projects will bring electricity to thousands of households for the first time and improve power supply across the country. Margaret Senge has more.
The commissioning of the 30-megawatt solar plants in Newton supports the government's Big 5 Game Changers agenda. The project aligns with Pillar 4, which focuses on infrastructure, technology, and innovation. It's also been hailed as a landmark investment in Sierra Leone's energy sector and the country's largest addition of clean renewable energy to date. President Julius Maada Bio says the project reflects his administration's vision of energy-secured Sierra Leone. He says every home, school, health facility, and business deserve access to renewable, affordable, and sustainable electricity. According to the president, the new power plants will strengthen the national grid, improve service delivery, and expand electricity access to hundreds of thousands of Sierra Leoneans.
Hereby officially commissioned the Newton 30-megawatt solar power plant with a 15 megawatt hour storage and the Lungeng 10 megawatt power plant with a 6 megawatt hour battery storage system under the Regional Emergency Solar Intervention Project, Respite. May these facilities bring light where there was darkness, opportunity where there was limitation, hope where there was uncertainty, and prosperity where there was stagnation.
The president also called on development partners and private sector investors to deepen collaboration with the government in advancing Sierra Leone's national development priorities.
This achievement should give confidence to every investor, development partner, and institution looking to engage with our country. Today's commissioning is not only a celebration of what has been achieved. It is an invitation to what is possible. Sierra Leone possesses extraordinary renewable energy potential. We are blessed with abundant sunshine, significant hydro resources, and growing opportunities in clean energy technologies. I therefore extend a clear invitation to investors, development partners, international financial institutions, climate finance institutions, technology providers, innovators across the world to join us in accelerating Sierra Leone's energy transformation. To the private sector, both domestic and international, I say Sierra Leone is open for investment, Sierra Leone is open for partnership.
Minister of Energy Cyril Grant says electricity is not a luxury, rather it's a necessity. He describes the Respite project as the largest solar facility ever installed in Sierra Leone. The minister says the project will do more than providing electricity, adding that it will create opportunities, strengthen livelihood, and drive innovation and support national development.
In Lunge, across the Great Rokel River north from here, we have installed 10 megawatts of solar power, and that power will supplement the existing thermal plant, reducing its operating hours and its fuel appetite. We will also connect in Lunge the PC Agriculture Onion Farm to the grid. And what that does, it will cut its costly captive power generation. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? And in due course, the international airport will be connected as a reliable backup supply, giving the gateway to our country the energy security it deserves.
World Bank country manager for Sierra Leone, Abdul Mwonge, says the project is valued at approximately $75 million. He says the government of Sierra Leone contributed 40% of the total costs. He reflected on the project's journey and the progress made within a relatively short period.
It's important to realize that the energy transition is happening. Solar is part of the story, hydro is part of the story, and everything else coming along. On December 4th, 2024, we were in this very place when we are handing over the site to the Chinese contractor. Exactly 1.5 years later, you are here to commission, and the lights are flowing.
Paramount Chief of Koya Chiefdom, Baikompa Bomboli III, welcomed the project and thanked President Bio for what he describes as significant development gains, particularly in the energy sector. He says access to electricity will improve healthcare delivery, strengthen education, enhance security, and stimulate income activities in surrounding communities. The chief also urged residents to work together to protect the facility and its infrastructure.
I want to use the local dialect to reach my people. Do ya now, in through your own best, may we own this project? What do I mean by may we own this project? Vandalism, theft of batteries, and destruction of solar panels should not be tolerated. Now, may you too, for all these projects, let us take that opportunity as community leaders. Anyone caught sabotaging this facility should face the full weight of both traditional laws and national justice. Dear Ifabule, me the beg with all way there for thief battery, for thief solar panel there. Make we be soldier man, may we be security, may we be policeman for this place also, so that tomorrow we begin them, generations yet unborn can always remember. He is making a landmark. This is his history, this is his own making. But when he leaves tomorrow, that's time we begin to say, oh yes, that was President Bio who constructed this.
He further commended landowners who made the land available for the projects. Residents expressed excitement over the development. Many say their communities have gone without electricity for over 20 years. They believe the project will transform their lives and create new opportunities for businesses, students, and families.
Really, I feel happy. I really appreciate what the government can do for we in our community, for especially with the comrades. it's not really easy for we for grow up picking. So if this kind of thing don't kind of with community, I believe say we say if they can't get went up, I will say if they will get little one for support to picking them.
I feel so good. I feel so happy, you know, actually, because until we've been pray for, and indeed you don't kind of do much. From this period where I've been on there, this 20 good year where I don't serve here. Now, there, light don't come. I appreciate them so much. I appreciate President Bio for what he don't bring. We dey tell President Bio say, what he don't do for this community, we go ever remain for praise, we go ever remain for pray for him. That goodness, it will be a good thing for all.
Officials says the 30-megawatt solar plants, supported by more than 15 megawatt-hours of battery storage, will provide first-term electricity access to an estimated 4,000 households. The project will also boost power supply to the international airports and its surrounding areas. The Respite project is expected to benefit communities including Magendeun, Bobu, Magbath, Katu, and Mabrown. The commissioning of the 30-megawatt solar energy marks a turning point for renewable energy future. It is expected to deliver clean, renewable, reliable power to thousands of homes and businesses. This is more than infrastructure. It is growth, and it is a brighter future for Sierra Leone. For SLBC News, Margaret Senge reporting.
Authorities have launched an investigation into the recent fire incident that destroyed 5 public transport buses at the Sierra Leone Public Transport Authority depot in the east end of Freetown last Friday night. Our reporter, Yusuf Mosiru Suma, visited the scene to get the latest update.
Fingers are being pointed at workers at the authority. The claim is that they might have removed some parts from these buses and set them ablaze, so there will be no trace. However, the head of procurement at the Sierra Leone Public Transport Authority, Mahmoud Kamara, denies these allegations. He says an internal finding by the authority so far cannot ascertain the cause of the fire.
I don't want to ascribe to it because all this is allegations. I believe in facts. Even in my private discussion, I believe in facts. I don't involve myself in guest talk or hearsay talk. I want to always get the facts. So that's why we rely on third-party sisters institutions of those that have the authority to investigate and get us the right truth of what has happened or what causes the fire.
He assures the public that buses are available for the provincial routes as they look into the matter properly. Meanwhile, a driver and eyewitness, Sovula Sandi, makes claim that the National Fire Force's response was not swift.
Me don't come on a new bus for go down to. Now I see fire at the back.
After I have parked my own bus, I saw the fire from the back seat of 016. I shouted and rushed towards the bus to start the engine and move it from the other buses. But the smoke choked me, so I stepped out of it. We called fire force, but didn't respond earlier.
We called them. They not quick respond, they not make. They not respond quick.
The head of communications and legal officer of the Sierra Leone National Fire Force, Bintu Fatmata Kamara, debunks such claims. She urges members of the public to take fire preventions seriously.
I will not agree to that. You know, as soon as we got the call, we left Kisi Fire Station. And looking at the distance from Kisi Fire Station to the scene, it's not too far. So we left immediately for the scene. There was nothing like lateness from our side.
For Mohamed Bangura, a driver for one of the buses running from Freetown to Bo and Kenema, he depends only on his skills for survival. The unfortunate incident, he says, is affecting him negatively.
So I feel pain.
I felt pain, just crying. The incident has disturbed the institution and my daily survival. It is here I am getting my living.
This affects all, because now they get me living.
The depot serves as a key hub for government public transport operations in the capital, and the loss of the buses is expected to affect service schedules for commuters.
I'm inside one of the burnt down buses, and this, from what we are told, is a 46-seater bus that runs from Freetown to Bo and Kenema. SABC will continue to follow as the investigation unfolds. SABC News, Yusuf Mosire Suma, Freetown.
Well, it's now time for the international news update.
Hello and welcome to the international news with me, Esther Susanette Bassi. U.S. President Donald Trump and Iran senior officials have traded new threats of further action after the two sides exchanged strikes. Trump said Tehran had taken too long to negotiate a deal and would now have to pay the price without giving specific details. He said Iran had been completely defeated and was all talk and no action. It came after Iran's foreign minister Abbas Aliya warned his country would leave no attack or threat unanswered, saying that the U.S. had suffered defeats on the battlefield. The U.S. said it struck Iranian sites in response to the downing of a U.S. Army helicopter in the Gulf. Violence has broken out across Belfast with homes and vehicles set on fire following a knife attack in the north of the city. About 200 people gathered near Newtownards Road, a unionist area on the edge of Belfast city centre. Many of the group were masked with some waving flares. Politicians and police have called for calm after people took to the streets across the city. Speaking at a press conference, Reform UK Deputy Leader Richard condemned the violence in Belfast and urged people to express their frustration peacefully. He said there is no place for masked thugs to take to the streets and threaten, intimidate, disrupt and cause wanton damage, adding that hate cannot be allowed to win. Police in South Africa have launched a manhunt after 12 people were killed in a mass shooting at an informal settlement in Johannesburg. At least 10 suspects, heavily armed with rifles, entered the Jumpers informal settlement in the suburb of Cleveland last night and opened fire before fleeing in a white vehicle, police said. Members of the Jumpers community believe the shooting may be linked to a tough war between groups of illegal miners living in the area. Illegal mining has been on the increase in South Africa, which has one of the highest murder rates in the world. And finally, the international news summary. Nigeria's ambitious $11 billion coastal highway promises to transform transport and tourism along the Atlantic coast. As construction advances, environmentalists, fishermen and villagers warn the project could worsen coastal erosion, destroy forests and threaten livelihoods. The 6-lane expressway is designed to connect Lagos, with authorities promoting it as a catalyst for economic growth, tourism and a regional connectivity. Environmental activist Bassi has described the project as an epitome of climate denial, warning that rising sea levels could eventually threaten the road itself. Studies show that much of Lagos State's coastline has been steadily retreating for decades, while climate projections indicate that sea levels could continue to rise significantly throughout the century. Well, that's it for the international news summary from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation Television. I am Esther Susanette Bassi. Thanks for watching. Continue to stay glued.
Up next is the sports update.
Hello there, it's the sporting updates that brings you the very best in local and international sports. And today we begin with athletics in this edition. Now, Sierra Leonean 100 meters sprinter Fidel Lawrence has raised concern over the selection of athletes for the 2026 Commonwealth Games to be hosted in Glasgow. Here is the update.
Well, it has been a while that we have been on this tussle because as the fastest of the nation, over 4 to 5 years now, I'll be winning my national championship, back to back, so when it comes to the Commonwealth selection, it was something that was hidden, which of course it is really, really undone. So that gave me the mind, for me to come out and then voice it out to the general populace for them to know what is going on really. Because as the fastest, I don't believe that I am supposed to be left out. And then the most unfortunate incident here is the first fastest, the second, the third, and the fourth. None of them are part of the Commonwealth team, which of course it is very more frustrating for us, the athletes, So that's why I decided to come here to explain to the general populace for them to aware.
Have you engaged the SLAA?
And first and foremost, if I may say this, the SLA president, the leadership, that's an autocratic government, because there is someone who doesn't listen to other people, He used to like take a decision on his own, He has never had a meeting with us, the athletes, try to like explain things to us. That has never happened for the past years that he has been in governance, which is the Matimomo Bangura, leadership. So I engaged him, I called him, but he was not responding. So I decided to come here today.
So what has been the response from the authorities in Sierra Leone, the players, the Ministry of Sport, the National Sport Authority, and the National Olympic Committee, the NOC?
Okay, and when this issue occurred, we went personally to the NOC, and then they told us that they gave the SLAA a 10 quota for the athletes to represent the country in the upcoming Commonwealth Games. But previously, the association told us that, Martin to be specific, told us that it is 6 quota that the NOC gave to them. And then when we went to the NOC, they said it is 10. Okay, out of the 10, they said they are going to take 6 athletes here in Sierra Leone, and then they are going to like have another athletes in the diaspora. I said, okay, if that's the situation, they are supposed to like hold, a time trial, organize a championship meet for the 2026. But this is a situation, they did a selection wherein there is no competition, no time trial.
In the international scene, we flip our attention to the much talked about 2026 FIFA Men's Football World Cup. Well, the FIFA is on, and Bafana Bafana, the boys, will be up against Mexico in that exciting opening match. The setting may have changed from Johannesburg to Mexico City, but the anticipation remains just as high. This time it is Mexico who carry the burden and privilege of hosting, with more than 83,000 fans expected to pack the legendary Estadio Azteca for the opening ceremony. Mexico has won 2 of the 4 previous meetings between the sides, while South Africa have 1 victory and 1 draw. Their most memorable encounter, however, came in the opening match of the 2010 FIFA World Cup in Johannesburg. On that occasion, South Africa's captain Shabalala sent the home crowd into celebration with a stunning strike early in the second half, only to Mexico defender Rafael to secure 1-1 draw for his side with a late equalizer. Yet South Africa would travel to the stadium with ambitions of their own, making their first World Cup appearance since 2010. Bafana Bafana, who emerged from a controversial African qualifying campaign under coach Hugo Bruce, known for their organization, discipline and resilience. The South Africans will hope to frustrate the host and perhaps recreate the surprise they delivered 16 years ago. For Mexico, they entered the tournament in impressive form, while for Javier's side, they've shown encouraging signs throughout the year, securing draws against European heavyweights Portugal, Belgium, before putting together 3 consecutive victories over Ghana, Australia and Serbia. Their most recent outing was a commanding 5-1 win against Serbia in Toluca. That ends your update, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
And now to end the news, the main points again. President Julius Maada Bio has commissioned 2 new power facilities The 30-megawatt Regional Emergency Solar Power Intervention Project, known as Respite in Newton, Western Area Rural District, and a 10-megawatt power plant in Lunge. The president says the project will bring electricity to thousands of households for the first time and improve power supply across the country. The Ministry of Health has announced significant progress in reducing maternal deaths by 31% and child deaths by 11% across Sierra Leone during the first 100 days of its ambitious 300 days of activism for 000 campaign. And residents and road users have expressed frustration over the deteriorating condition of the old road linking Taylor Street to Shell in the eastern part of Freetown. The road, which serves as an important route for vehicles, kekes, motorbikes and pedestrians, has become difficult to use. Well, that's how we wrap up this edition of News Hour from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, the SRBC. I've been your news anchor, Daphne Zainab Kamara. Have a blessed night. Good night.